You just
right?
gave two different
There's a
definitions.
contradiction in its negation. That's what it means.
That's not necessity, though.
Yeah, yeah. You think that there's something that isn't necessary that has a contradiction in its negation? What's an
Brother,
example of that?
this is why I said everything that is necessary is possible,
I agree,
right?
but you just said that there
But
are things
not
that are
everything
necessary
that
that
is
don't.
possible is necessary.
I don't understand how
How do you not
you're this
How
understand
did,
confused.
that?
wait, how you don't under, oh.
No, I understand that. That's obviously not what I'm saying. What I'm
But
saying
you're
is that
all
what it
you're
means
doing is
to.
just saying
I
what's required for something to be
I said
logically
no. What
possible.
it means
You're
for me to be
not saying
logically,
necessary.
what it means for me to be logically necessary is that there's a literal contradiction or a violation of the laws of logic in the negation of that statement. Right? If I have a statement and I say that that statement's false, I get a contradiction. That means that the original statement is logically necessary. Now,
Oh my
when you say it's
lord.
necessary, you're saying it's
That's
suppositionally necessary or something. I
brother,
asked you what that meant, and then you just
that's not
gave an
what that
example
means,
of something
bro.
that's logically impossible.
Brother,
Or sorry, logically necessary.
that's just not what that means, bro.
So it doesn't seem like you're actually clearly able to
Brother,
articulate
that's
suppositional
just not what
necessity.
necessity means, bro.
Okay. Can you give me an example of something that's necessary, but its negation doesn't involve a contradiction?
Brother, now you mixing it up again.
What it means to be necessary is that the negate. Do you know what the word negation means?
Yes.
Okay. The negation of it is impossible. That means that it is necessary. Do you agree?
Okay. Okay.
Do you agree?
In every possible world, correct?
I just said, yeah.
Okay, in every possible, you have to include that. You do understand that, right?
It's implied when you say that. When you say
No, it's
that it's
not,
negation. If something has a contradiction, then it's false in every possible world.
brother. I can say it.
What?
I can say it's impossible for Slim to be born in 1990. Well, let's just say 1950, right?
How is that? Wait, that's logically impossible?
This is my point. It's impossible for her to be born there because she was born not in 1950. That's
Oh,
why I'm
wait,
telling you
so
there's
is
different
this
types of.
notion of necessity is just tied to real world facts? So then you're just begging the question.
What the. Brother, okay, what
Because
is the
now you're
first
just
thing I said
saying
to
it's
you?
a real world fact that this is the case.
Brother,
I,
that's what.
I accept that it's a real world fact. That's completely irrelevant
There's no
to what's
way
in
this
contention.
man's. There's no way that this man's going. That's why I'm saying this got to be rage bait, first of all. That's why I said
What?
there's
How
two
am I
different
rage
types
baiting?
of necessity.
No, but that type of necessity that you're imploring isn't relevant because that's just to say that the greater good could logically be achieved if not allowing child torture. That's an implicit concession when you say it's only suppositionally
Brother, when
necessary
did
and not
we even
logically
get to.
necessary. I asked you why it's the case that torture is necessary for the greater good. You said it's suppositionally necessary, but if it's not logically necessary, that means that you could have the greater good and not have child torture. Do you agree with that?
No,
What would be
no,
the
no,
greater,
no. Okay, brother.
What? What do you mean you don't agree with that? That's trivially
Brother,
true.
because there could be a world where just nobody but freaking animals exist, right? However, if free will and having that part of free will ends up with this situation, then you're not going to say what you just said. That just doesn't follow.
Is child torture logically necessary for the greater good? Yes or no? Is it logically necessary?
In what way are you talking about?
Is it logically necessary?
In all possible worlds?
That's what it means to be logically necessary.
Bro.
That it's true in all possible worlds.
Okay,
Is it
so
logically necessary
this
that
is
in
the
order to get the greater
this is
good, you have to have child torture? Yes or no?
okay, this is the other issue you're gonna run into, right?
Wait, why
And
are you dodging? Come on. Yes or no?
I'm
Is it
not,
logically
I'm
necessary?
not, brother. You don't.
You're not dodging, but you're not saying yes or no. So it seems like
Because
you
I'm
are
gonna
dodging, given it's a
explain to
yes or no
you.
we're
I'm
question.
gonna
not going to
explain
do
to you
meta.
how we use possible worlds. All right. So there's gonna be a type of semantics that's gonna be like a possible world semantics, and then there's gonna be another type of possible, quote unquote, possible world semantics that just looks at the nature of things, right? So when we talk about these things, we're just looking at the nature of things and what those things can do in and of themselves, right? Because me personally and a lot of other philosophers, they don't really use possible world semantics in that way. So I would say something like it was possible for Adam and Eve, right, not to sin because they had it in their nature to be able not to do that. But there is no quote unquote possible world in which they would have did otherwise.
Bro, I'm sorry. I'm just going to ask the same question. Is it logically necessary? You can just say it's not logically necessary and that's necessary in some other relevant sense, but just concede that it's not
I just
logically
told
necessary.
you the sense that it's in.
So it's not logically necessary, just to be clear,
For what?
for torture to exist in order to have the greater
Okay,
good.
did you understand what I just said?
Oh my God. Yes or no, bro? Come on.
I'm just asking, did you understand what I just said?
Big Leo
Yeah, I
debate.
understood
Can
what
you
you said.
still mean what he said, please?
I'm going to steal my something. Well, then that's kind of a derail, right? Because I'm
No,
pressing
it's
him on a yes or no
not.
question.
No, it is
That
not.
would be
Because
a
no,
derail. Yeah.
no. You asked him a question. He gave
Sure.
it to you based on what we understand within our paradigm. So can you still mend his position?
Sure. He said that the relevant form of necessity and modal semantics that most people in this domain use are a type of necessity that's relative to the nature of things, not logically necessary. Obviously, that doesn't answer the question. I'm asking if it's logically necessary.
That's not what I'm
That's
saying.
not what he said.
That's literally what he said. He said that the relevant form
literally not what
of
he
necessity is in relation to the nature of things. That's literally what he
That's
said.
not what I'm saying, bro.
That's, oh my God.
Okay, so just answer the question. Yes or no? Is it logically necessary?
Is it logically necessary? Given the circumstance, I say it's metaphysically necessary.
Is it logically necessary?
Okay, so when you say the greater good, you're automatically assuming that there's people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so automatically that's not going to be logical necessity.
What?
We're just going to be saying in every single possible world where there's people.
Yes. Wait,
Then
if
I
what
would
it
just
means
say-
for something to be if a part of what it means for something to be the greater good is that it's the case that people exist, that doesn't mean that it's no longer logically necessary. It could still be logically necessary that in order for humans to exist, in order for the greater good to exist, that torture would have to occur. I'm just asking, is that logically necessary?
I'm just gonna go with your definition, even though this is just not correct. So I would just, because I'm sort of like a compatibilist, so I would just say that this is like what was going to happen, and it's gonna be
Is it
like
logically
a supposition.
necessary?
It's a suppositional necessity.
Is it
You're
logically
confused on what
necessary?
logical necessity is.
Is it logically necessary?
Brother, it's not. You can't.
We
it's
have to
not using
establish
that
what
term.
logical necessity even is here.
It's not
Because
the-
you're
Yeah. Is there a
confused.
contradiction entailed in this negation?
That's not even what logical necessity is. So you're
Really?
confused
So
on what it
something-
means. You're confused on
something
what it
can
means
be
to have a
logically
logical
necessary.
problem, and you're confused on what it means.
Do you think that
politically.
they share the same hyperintention?
How is that relevant to what we're talking about?
Because if it's the case they share the same hyperintention, then it's the case that we're going to get the same truth value. And
Yeah,
all
you're
we really
assuming-
care about is the truth value.
You're
here.
assuming that
So I'm
all
just
logical
asking,
problems are contradictions. I'm not sure why I'd be committed to that.
so what it means for it to be logically necessary is that its negation violates one of the laws of logic, right?
No.
No? So there's an example of something that's logically necessary, but the negation of the statement doesn't violate a law of logic. What would be an example of that?
I can just define logical necessity as a sentence is logically necessary if it is true in every evaluation or interpretation, or every model.
That's consistent with what I'm saying.
No, that has
That's
nothing to do.
that's just less
That has
informative.
nothing to do with the laws of
That's
logic.
less informative, but it's exactly what I'm saying. Now, look, is it logically necessary? Yes or no?
Like, that has nothing to do with the laws of logic, just to be clear.
What? How could something be true in all possible worlds?
I
if
never
its
mentioned
negation
possible
doesn't
worlds. Wait, this
You
guy
just
can't
said
track.
true. You just said true in all worlds.
No, I did. I never said the word worlds. I never
True in all
said that.
interpretations, a predicate, an
I said in
interpretation
every
of
model.
predicate yeah, a model in predicate logic or a model in modal logic, right? That's fixed by a set of propositions.
You take
So
it
when
that a
you look
model
at
is a world?
No,
Okay, so why are you substituting the two?
because when you look at models, you look at a set of propositions, and in order for something to be a model that's possible, it would have to have propositions that are possible, right?
No, I mean, logical necessity, you don't have to invoke possible worlds at all. That's the entire point.
Do you think that there's something that's logically necessary that doesn't violate a law, that its negation doesn't violate laws of logic? And if so, what is that proposition?
Yeah, you can have something that's like ill-formed, which has nothing to do with the laws of logic. That's
What's the
still a logical
proposition?
problem.
What's the proposition?
If something is ill-formed to a system, you can just think of any example.
Give,
Like
give
if
the
they're-
proposition.
Like in paraconsistent logic, if you have a false contradiction, a true contradiction, that's not a problem in paraconsistent
We're not
logic.
talking about paraconsistent logic.
You asked for an example. I gave you an example.
We're talking about classical logic when we use the logical operators that we're using.
What?
We're talking
Do you think
about
paraconsistent
classical
logic doesn't use those logical operators?
They do, but we're not using it in that way for the
Well,
conversation.
you asked for an example of something
But-
being a
Are you
logical
not aware
problem
that
without
we're
there
using
being laws of logic that are
we're
violated.
using the modal operators as they would appear, presupposing presupposing like classical logics, right?
Wait, so
Obviously. Or I'm talking to Christians right here. They're not dialetheists.
yeah, I gave you an example, and now you're just like kind of skidding past it.
But we're not talking about that sense of logical possibility. We're not talking about like a broader sense of logical modality here. We're talking about the sense of logical modality that has to do with classical logic. In that
Well,
sense, do
I
you
said
think that there's a
anything that's
statement?
ill-formed. What do you
Okay,
mean?
so do you think
I
that
gave an
given
example of something that's
given
ill-formed.
classical logic, is there a statement that's negation doesn't violate a law of logic and it's logically necessary? Yes or no?
Well, I'm giving you examples of something that's
Dodge
a
number
logical
one. Is it the
problem and that's
case?
not violating the laws of logic, which just
The
seems to be the
logical
same.
problem. I said, is there something that's logically necessary? Its negation doesn't entail violation of law of logic under classical logic. Yes or no?
No, how is critiquing your point about logical
Okay,
problems
bro,
being contradictions?
you're not engaging. Look,
I'm
if
not
anyone wants to
engaging.
tell
Wait,
me,
what did I come up saying?
you started gibberating about a system of logic that's not in contention, and you started equivocating on
Wait,
the
so
modal
did I
operators
come
that
up
we're using.
saying a logical problem is not in all cases a contradiction? Did I never say that?
A logical problem. We're not talking about logical problems. We're talking about logical necessity.
What? So I never mentioned logical problems?
I don't know why you would do that. Maybe you're schizophrenic or something. But we're talking about logical necessity here.
What? Slim, what did I come
What?
up saying?
No one mentioned logical problems before you did. I didn't engage in that because it's completely
Wait,
irrelevant
you
to what we're
said,
talking about.
wait, so whenever Jordan said something, you said, oh, what's the contradiction in that? So you're assuming that all logical problems are contradictions, right?
No. I'm not saying all logical problems are
Oh, so
contradictions.
I think you're
Actually,
backtracking now.
What?
Because
When did I say
Jordan was
that?
asking, why do I have to give a contradiction? And you said, because
Because
you
she
said it's
claimed it was
inconsistent.
logically necessary, and we're using a classical logic sense of logical necessity.
Wait, so what was the reasoning in asking Jordan for a contradiction because he said something was inconsistent?
Because we're presupposing a sense of classical logic when we
Yeah,
evaluate these
classical
terms.
logic, you can have inconsistencies with no contradiction.
Wait, what would be an example of that?
I just gave you an example.
With pair
And
consistent
now you
logic?
can't, now
You
you
think
can't
pair
try.
consistent logic? You think pair consistent logic is
No, I
compatible with
said
classical logic?
anything that is ill-formed according to a language
Just
can
give
be
a
considered a logical problem.
just give the proposition.
Okay, we can give a proposition. Well, it wouldn't be a proposition, but it would be ill-formed because ill-formed sentences aren't
Do you have a
propositional.
we're talking about propositions here. Do you have a proposition? Yes or no?
I said, no, wait, what? So logical problems are all propositions?
No one. Oh my God. She said
Okay,
that. Look,
if something's
she said that
ill-formed, it's not a
something is.
proposition.
She said that
What are you
something isn't
talking about?
possible. He said that something isn't possible, right? I'm asking, what's the contradiction? What law of logic does the negation violate? Right?
Yeah, inconsistencies or problems don't have to violate the laws of logic to be problems.
So then, then they might be using inconsistency in a sense that doesn't require logical necessity, but then that just doesn't answer the question, is it logically necessary? Which is a question I've asked 10 times, which I've yet to get an answer to.
Because you're defining logical necessity as just true in all worlds. That's not adequate.
It's literally how the guy above me defined it. I don't know what your problem is, but
Wait, you introduced that to the conversation first, before Jordan even came up.
no, I didn't define logical necessity in that way before Jordan named
you
up.
did.
I defined
you
logical
did.
necessity in terms of
When you were
negation
talking
class.
Yes, you
to
did.
Rust, you defined it that way.
No, I defined it in terms of its negation entailing a contradiction or entailing a violation of laws of logic. Now, anyways, what
And you said in all possible
is
worlds.
it logically
You said it has
necessary?
to
Yes
be
or
that
no?
in all
Why do they
possible
keep
worlds.
dodging this question, by the way? They have
You
not
said
answered
it
this
has
question.
to
I've
be
asked it
that in
like
all possible
20 times.
worlds.
Yes or no, is it logically necessary?
Can you give an actual definition to that?
Yeah, by logically necessary, all I mean is that the negation of the proposition entails a violation of law of logic. Given that's what I mean by logically necessary, is it logically necessary? Yes or no?
What is logically necessary?
Is it logically
That's for the
necessary
greater
that you could
good.
have the greater good without child torture?
What
Without
is
allowing
understood
child
to be the
torture?
greater good?
However, you were using the term because you invoked it. I don't even know what that means.
Okay,
But
and by greater good, what are you meaning by this?
whatever you meant by the greater good, just use those semantics.
I just mean for the benefit of individuals. So if there's a
Sure.
benefit of these individuals, that's like has nothing to do with logical necessity. So we're gonna. That's why I was saying,
Is it logically necessary? Yes or no?
brother.
You just said it has nothing to do with logical necessity.
That's not.
That's
That's
why I
dodge,
said it's a
by the way.
suppositional necessity. But
Is it logically necessary? Yes or no?
And you're confused on what suppositional necessities are as well. That's very
Is it
apparent.
logically necessary? Yes or no? This is like the
Brother,
seventh
can
time.
you
I've
You
asked
just-
said it's suppositionally necessary. That's why you're
Do you
confused.
think that answers the question? Do you have autism?
yes, it
No,
does.
doesn't
If
answer
you
the
know what
question.
suppositional necessity is.
How would that answer the question? Can something be suppositionally necessary and logically necessary?
No.
No. There aren't any suppositional necessities that aren't logical necessities. Is it
Suppositional necessities are like more
Wait,
metaphysical, and they have nothing
is
to do
it?
with meta language.
Do you think that there are metaphysical necessities that are also logical necessities?
No, logical necessities has to do
Okay.
with the meta language.
Is it
I don't. You know what the difference
is it
between meta and
metaphysically
object language?
necessary?
Metaphysics.
Is it metaphysically necessary that a bachelor is an unmarried man?
No, that's logical necessity.
You think it's metaphysically possible that someone is both an unmarried man and
That's just
not a
that. The whole
bachelor?
point is that that's a category error. That's
Well,
wrong.
do you know
Or
the
like
difference between
metaphysically
logic?
necessary
Hold on,
or
hold on. He's
unnecessary.
Oh my
conflating two
God,
different
that is
categories.
so
You're
bad.
conflating logical and metaphysical
Yeah, that's the entire
necessity.
point.
Like, what are we doing?
Saying that everything that's metaphysically possible entails, sorry, everything that's metaphysically possible is logically possible, right?
Wait, do you think like logic and
And you
metaphysics are
understand that
intertwined or
all
something?
This
logically
is where the
necessary
conflation.
propositions are metaphysically
You're
necessary,
mixing
right?
up so many.
Do you think that logic and
definitions.
metaphysics are
heck?
necessary for each other or something? Like, what is this?
No, I'm saying that logical necessities are by definition metaphysical necessities.
You realize there's an entire field of people that reject
Because it's
metaphysical
defined
modality as a whole and accept logical modality. So why would that be the
What do you
case?
mean they deny it? In the sense that they don't think it's like coherent?
Like, do you know who Quine is? Have you ever read a book in your life?
Yeah, I know who Quine is.
Okay, Quine denied metaphysical modalities and he accepted logical modalities.
But
so-
under every interpretation of metaphysical possibility, if something's metaphysically possible, it's logically possible.
Wait, so what did Quine think if he rejected metaphysical
He
modality
just
as a
didn't
whole?
think it was coherent. He just didn't think it made sense. So
Oh,
that
so
there's
wait,
no
you
longer
said
an
under
interpretation
every
there. I said,
interpretation though.
yeah, that's not an interpretation. What?
Wait, so Quine's view isn't an interpretation?
He doesn't think the thing to be interpreted exists. So no, it's not an interpretation of metaphysical modality.
He's
Obviously
saying it's not coherent. What are you talking about?
That's not an interpretation of a thing if you don't think the thing makes sense.
Oh my goodness, you're just coping.
What? That's like
You're
someone
saying all
what's your
metaphysical problems
interpretation
are
of
logical
souls?
problems.
What's
That's
your
what you're
interpretation
saying.
of souls? I don't think souls are possible.
You're
Like,
Bro, what
saying
is
that's an
all
that?
meta-
interpretation.
Wait
hold
a
on.
minute. Hold on.
No,
Pause.
that's not an interpretation.
Pause. Bro, we are so far off the topic. Like,
Asking,
both
is it
of them talking
logically
about souls
necessary?
and
Is it
stuff.
logically necessary? Yes or no?
Do you
Why
think
can't they answer this question?
Well, you think all
because there's a
metaphysical
conflation in
problems are
categories?
logical problems. That's just like extremely
Wait,
It's a
confusing.
conflation in categories.
do you think
That's
that
why.
every proposition is either logically necessary, or logically possible?
What happened?
Is
Say that
every
one more time.
proposition either logically necessary or logically possible?
Propositions?
Either logically impossible or logically possible, yeah.
You can
Logically
finish your
impossible
question
or
like
logically
3
possible?
times, bro.
Yeah. Is that true of every proposition?
I guess.
Okay. So either the proposition is logically possible or it's logically impossible. I'm asking you, is it logically impossible? Yes or no? Is the negation logically impossible? Yes or no?
Wait, what does this have to do with your point about metaphysical?
Because I'm
possibility?
asking everyone on the panel, is it logically necessary? This is like the 12th time I'm asking, and I still haven't gotten an answer to
But all
every
you
basic
mean by
question.
logical, wait, you already clarified that you just think metaphysical and logical necessities or probabilities are just the same. I mean, problems are the same. You already said that. That's
Answer
not.
the question. Is it logically necessary? Yes or no?
Obviously, we're equivocating in what we mean by that because your definition is horrible.
What? This is how it's standardly defined.
It's standardly defined that logical necessities and metaphysical necessities are the same.
No, I'm not asking about metaphysical modality. I'm asking, is it logically
But
necessary?
you already
Yes
said
or
that
no?
they're the same. So obviously, if I
I
disagree,
never said
then
that
we
they
don't
were the
define it the
same.
same.
What? I never said that they were the same. What I said was that if something's metaphysically possible, then it's logically possible. It doesn't mean that they're the same modal category. Okay, now look. Is it logically necessary? Yes or no, Jordan? Come on. This is like the 20th time I'm asking. I might have to diagnose you with like a mental illness if you don't answer this.
Wait, so this guy is so
Go to
confused.
Wi-Fi real quick, hold on.
You're saying the two terms
Okay,
are
I think,
substitutable.
okay, look, we're gonna have 5 more chances. I think I might have to disconnect if I don't get an answer. But okay, this is the first time. Is it logically necessary? Yes or no, Jordan?
You realize you already answered this question?
Can you hear me?
Okay, that doesn't really seem like an answer. Let's try it again. Is it logically necessary? Yes or no?
Can y'all hear me or not?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Is it logically necessary?
But I don't use
Jordan, your phone is going in and out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Can you, like, we hear you.
Alright, yeah. So I said I don't use logical necessity like that. Like, it's not logically necessary that we sinned. We just chose to do that. So in our choosing to do that, it makes it like suppositionally necessary.
Wait, what proposition do you think I'm asking you about?
You're asking me whether there could have been some sort of world without like child torture, right?
No, I'm asking you if it's logically necessary that child torture exists given the greater good is fulfilled.
Brother, what's the difference between what I just said and what you just said?
Because you're just talking about a world where child torture exists, and I'm talking about where child torture doesn't exist, and then I'm talking about a world where child torture exists and the greater good has been fulfilled. So that would be the distinction.
You said and the greater good is what?
Fulfilled.
Yeah.
Is,
Well,
there,
I
is that
mean,
logically necessary that child torture exists in order for the greater good to be fulfilled? This is the third time I'm asking you. 2 more tries after this.
it's not in order for it. So we make the choice, and then that's just what happens. That's why I said it's suppositionally necessary.
Is it logically necessary? Yes or no?
Oh my gosh, you keep asking me the same thing.
Okay, we got one more try, guys. Maybe
The
everyone in the
reason
audience,
why,
like,
the reason why,
maybe
he's not
everyone should just give him
answering-
some
the
gifts
reason, the
so
reason
he can
why,
answer the question.
the reason why it's not going to move forward is because every time he's telling you that he's not equivocating in the same way that you are equivocating, it's not tracking to you. He's not using it in the same terminological sense in the same way that you are. So you keep asking a question, looking for an answer based on your understanding, and he's not doing the same way as what he's saying.
So
Under
if
your
Can you
understanding
still
of
man? So Big Leo, can you still man what Jordan said?
is it logically necessary under either my semantics or your semantics? I'm
Can
going to give you a
no,
redeeming.
It's
I'm
not
giving
an
you a
either or.
redemption.
Hold
I'm
on.
giving you a
Big
chance
Leo,
of
Big
redemption
Leo,
right now.
Big
You can use your own
Leo,
semantic
Big
stance for this
Leo,
question,
stop.
even though my semantics are
Big
not
Leo,
proprietary
stop. Like, don't make
whatsoever.
me mute you, bro. Because I don't care about the meta stuff that you're trying to do. I really don't give a shit.
if, I
So
mean, I
I'm
could
gonna
just
say it
answer
again.
it. So if it's under my worldview, then no, it's not necessary.
Not logically necessary. Okay, awesome. So you agree it's not logically required for the greater good to be met without God allowing child torture. Awesome.
Ooh, you're gonna have to reword that. I don't even know what the freak you just said.
Yeah,
You
so
put a lot of
given
negatives.
sure. So God disallowing child torture, that's compatible, logically speaking, with the greater good being achieved. Now, you also agree.
That's not, brother. That's
Oh,
not.
it's
That's
not. It's
not
not.
what I'm
Oh,
saying.
the
So
negation
you're
is
saying,
logically
hold on. You're
necessary,
saying
but
God. Hold on. You're
the
saying
proposition isn't
God.
logically possible.
Okay, you're saying God disallowing. So when we say that God is all right. So when we say God is allowing something and quote unquote disallowing something, when we look at our free will has to be actualized in some way from the first actualizer. So we can choose to do things, and based off of our choices, those things happen. Do you understand that? So we could have chose otherwise, but we didn't. So therefore, it's necessary that this happens because that's just what we chose. Not that it's necessary in every
Okay.
possible world.
So maybe to be a bit more clear this time, is it logically necessary that God allows, so not just that child torture occurs, but that God actually allows child torture, and it's the case that the greater good occurs? So that's the new question. Is that logically necessary? So I want to applaud you because you actually did answer the first question. You did say it was logically possible. Now I'm asking you, is it logically necessary if God doesn't allow child torture, but the greater good is still fulfilled? That's just a yes or no.
I'd say, whew, can you reword that where it's like not too many negatives? Because I don't know if me saying yes is gonna be a negation or something.
Yeah. So God not allowing, so he's like preventing it, right? We can just use the word preventing. Is it logically
Okay.
necessary that God allows child torture and the greater good is achieved?
In the way that you're using logical necessity, then, or do you want to use mine?
Under either.
Okay, the way that you're using it, yeah, this is necessary.
Okay. So how do you think I'm using the term logical necessity?
I think you're using it the way that I'm using it suppositionally.
Okay. And what would be the contradiction there? What's the contradiction in God disallowing child torture and the
Wait,
greater
you're
good
asking for
being
a contradiction again. Didn't we just talk
because
about this?
it's how I'm using the term. And he said he want to talk about how I'm using the term.
Exactly. You do think every logical problem is a contradiction.
or other violation of law of logic. Yeah.
That's still false.
What do you mean
Okay.
logical problem? What does that even mean? We're not talking about logical problems. We're talking about propositions. First of all, we're talking about propositions being logically necessary. We're not talking about logical problems. I don't know why you even brought that up.
Wait, so what's the
Anyways.
motivation for asking for a contradiction again?
Yeah, because generally speaking, I mean, first of all, I can't conceive of anything that's logically impossible that doesn't have a contradiction, unless we're talking about like LEM cases. Obviously, this isn't an LEM case.
What does conceivability have to do with logical modality? What are you talking about?
Oh, sure, you can give me the violation of the law of excluded middle if you think it's there. I mean, obviously it's not. Anyone who's not an ape would know that, but you might hold the view that there's some violation in the law of excluded middle. I don't know why you would. Obviously, this isn't a case where the law of excluded middle is being compromised because I'm giving a very clear proposition. And then there's the law of identity, but obviously this doesn't violate the law of identity. So it's just very obvious that it would be a violation of the law of non-contradiction given it's logically necessary. But no, you can tell me any logical law you think this violates because you're claiming it's logically necessary.
Wait, that doesn't answer my question. What? I said, what does
Literally just-
conceivability have to do with logical modality?
I just said that given the fact that it's pretty inconceivable that this proposition would violate LEM, it's very inconceivable that it would violate law of identity. It's extremely likely that it would violate LNC. That doesn't mean it's required. It might violate LEN. It might violate law of identity.
You
I'm
think
just
like
saying
a
it probably
cognitive state
doesn't.
has anything to do with a formal entailment?
Yeah, I think it's inductive, obviously. Yeah.
Holy, like
You don't,
psychological
you don't think
notions
that
have.
you don't think
You think
conceivability
psychological
are
notions are
inductive?
intertwined with logical?
Intertwined. I said it was
entailments, bro.
inductive. I said it was literally probability raising. What are you talking about?
No,
Are these
conceivability
intertwined?
and logical modalities are two separate fields, like entirely separate fields. It has
I
nothing
agree
to do
they're
with each
separate
other.
fields. I'm saying it's inductive. What are you talking about?
That's
Anyways,
not
what's the
relevant to
logical?
what are
What's
you
the law of
bro?
logic that it violates? Tell me.
It doesn't have to be a law of logic that's violated to be a
I
logical
don't think
problem.
this is going to be productive. Host, I really appreciate you for
Do
having
you
me on
think
the
like
panel.
Do you think P biconditional, not P, is a
Just
logical
calm down.
problem?
I'm talking to the host. Host, I appreciate you for having me on this panel. I hope there's no like bad blood. I think
No,
it's
he's
pretty
rage
cool.
quitting.
I just generally do not see a productive discussion.
Well, maybe it'd be more productive if you actually read a book on logic.
I mean, did you actually want me to continue? Host, do you want me to stay?
The thing of the issue is
if you
you
want.
keep the thing is that you keep conflating in between issues between a logical necessity and a metaphysical necessity and understanding who God is. And speaking about if X was to occur, then therefore it should or should not be permissible underneath your view. But you have certain things such as his omni properties or whatever that you're speaking about that is not in correlation in totalities from our understanding, our paradigm. You keep jumping in back and forth in between and not. So
Sorry, your audience really wants me to stay. I guess they'll stay for a bit.
it's not my audience. A lot of people are saying to like binge
they
drop.
said they don't want me to drop or something, so they want me to stay. I guess.
They've been told me to close the doors.
Do they want me gone or do they want me to stay? I'll just do whatever they want, bro.
My
I don't
thing
want to like
is,
bore anyone.
my thing is, okay, let's just grant and say that no,
Wait,
it's not a logical.
can you make your argument though? Like, what is your argument?
I asked for an argument like ages ago, but
Cause I'm just curious what your argument is.
like, what's the
That's
actual
all I'm
argument?
trying to understand.
His original argument was supposed to prove a contradiction, but he changed it like midway.
Yeah, I know. But I just want to know what his
contradiction.
Yeah, but I just want to know what his argument is in general.
The basic argument is just that if it's the case that like we have very, very good reason to believe that allowing torture with no greater reason or like no overriding consideration, that's going to be the type of thing that's impermissible. And then I'm just asking, obviously, since you guys agree with that, the reason why you do think it's permissible in the context of God is because there's an overruling consideration. I'm just asking what that overruling consideration is, basically. And I'm saying it probably doesn't exist.
Wait, so what's the argument? I don't think you just gave an argument.
I told him that
You're that socially inept that you don't understand the argument? Like the obvious implied argument there?
Oh, it's implied. So when you're asked an argument, you just imply an argument. You don't actually give one.
You can talk in natural... Wait. Do you think that an argument
Did she not ask you to formalize it earlier?
Wait, do you think that all arguments have to be formalized?
I really don't want to waste time trying to formalize this, John.
Do all arguments have to be formalized? This is such a low tier question.
Okay, so...
Wait, that's a yes or no, Michael. Do all arguments have to be formalized?
I said she asked you to formalize it.
That's a dodge. You said I didn't
What?
give an argument. I think I did give an argument. It just wasn't formalized.
Repeat the argument again.
Yeah, basically, we understand that allowing child torture is morally wrong, given that there's no overruling consideration. So if God were to allow it, there would be an overruling consideration. Now,
Wait,
there doesn't seem to
you're
be any
presupposing
evidence.
that there isn't one?
No, that's not a presupposition.
You're
I'm
assuming.
saying
You're assuming
no,
that there
it's not.
isn't an overall reason. You literally said in your second statement that there is no. That's a definitive statement.
I
No,
kind of low key
I didn't say
already
that.
like. All right, so I low key already answered this because it has to do with glorification, not just of the individual child, but of other people as well.
Or you
So,
could just be like a skeptical theist or something and just admit that you got dunked on.
what?
Hey, like I can't explain the reason. You can't explain. You can explain this better than me. You're the atheist. I'm the theist.
My God. Hey,
You're not
bro.
That's not how
explaining
that
this as well
works.
as you
This
should
is
be.
not
Just
how
say
that
that.
works. I mean, you can
So
say that.
just say
but-
that, bro. Come on.
I mean, that's not how it works. I mean, you can say that if you want. If that makes you feel better.
Bro, what
I
is
don't
he
really
talking
care
about?
about feelings, but I'm
He's like
sure some
avoiding. He's
people-
like avoiding a convo of suppositional necessity because he isn't familiar, and he's trying to like
So we
divert
have
the
like
conversation.
there's like 4 issues. Like one issue is that originally it was an internal critique. Now because there's nothing that was contradictory, which he admitted, now he's moving on to like, oh yeah, atheism supplies a better explanation of something. And he also automatically assumes that we just don't have an answer for something. And also he's asking for an answer to something that's just not specific. And there could be multiple reasons as to why certain events happen in the first place. So like when we give a general answer, he's just saying that, oh yeah, but that's not this. So then he moved on to like something being logically necessary and then suppositionally necessary. And then he thinks it could have been some other type of way. So we just moved on to like 5 different arguments. Like you don't
And he said
actually have
your example of a suppositional necessity was a logical necessity. That was horrible.
Yeah,
Because
like,
he
we
said
just-
that someone is sitting, but they're not bending their legs and sitting, or sorry, bending their legs and putting their butt on a chair. But what it means to sit is to do that. So
You think that's
Yes.
true in every model?
what it means to sit, yes.
Okay. I mean, there's no
That's not
conversation.
what
Here. I
does it
think you
mean
should
to
just read
sit.
more because
That's
that's
literally what it means to sit. What are you talking about?
so. In every model, do you think there's even rules for sitting?
It's
What are you
the
talking
definition
about?
of sitting. What do you mean? It's like an analytic.
Do you know what it
truth.
means? Like,
What?
what
What's
have
the-
you
what is
read
he talking
regarding?
about?
This is horrible. What are you talking about? Like, if someone
Wait.
is running, and that means they're necessarily in motion. That's a suppositional necessity. That's nothing to do with logical necessity.
That's not the example he gave. Maybe you're just
The example he
confused on-
gave is the same.
it doesn't
He said
matter
that
the example.
someone
It's
is sitting, but their butt is not touching a chair and their legs aren't touching a chair.
You think that's logically like true in every
Also,
single.
someone running and being in motion is that conjunction is required. What do you mean? Given that one
No,
is
that's
true, the
not
other would have to
logically
be true.
necessary at
Wait,
all.
given that one's true, the other has to be true. What do you mean?
Dang, sometimes I
Wait,
understand he was just
that's a
walking
conditional
around, but-
necessity. What are you talking? That's literally what a conditional necessity.
Wait, is it logically possible that one is true and one isn't? Is that logically possible? Yes or no?
We're defining
Yes or
conditional
no?
necessities or suppositional necessities.
Dodge. Is it logically possible that one's true and one's
This
not?
Discord rhetoric is like corny as hell.
Dodge. Another dodge. It's logically possible that
Do you
one's
talk
true
to
and
people
one's
like this in
not.
real life?
No, I don't.
Talking about dodge, like, yo,
No, I don't talk to people like
I'm gonna
this
put
in
a
real life,
countdown.
obviously.
Okay, I'm gonna give this 5 more minutes. Hey, Link.
What's up? How we doing?
Oh my God. It's like so many conflations and categories going on right now. And I think it's not getting to. It's
Hear
not
that? Hear that? What's the contention?
Bro, Link, I think I need like an aspirin right now, bro. This is horrible.
Well, I can see why you would feel that way. You did ask the question a lot. I can understand. But I think there's a little bit of talking past each other. I think maybe that's why. I'm not sure, but can I write it out so I can see what you're saying, just so I can catch up?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I'm ready when you are.
Yeah, so basically, I kind of think that things like child torture, like allowing it, would be wrong if there's like no overruling considerations. I think it's like something that's wrong at face value. And it seems like everyone on the panel agrees with that.
I'm gonna let you do it, Link. Sorry.
Okay, allowing child torture is morally wrong without overriding reasons. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then the idea is that if theism is true, then there would be an overruling consideration.
Okay.
But it doesn't seem like there is that. I mean, it's possible there's an overruling consideration. It just hasn't been presented to me. It doesn't seem like anyone's able to really articulate one. So I take this to be pretty good inductive evidence that there just isn't that reason. And then another way to explain it is just that theism isn't explaining that overriding reason, and them being unable to explain it is like a limit of their explanatory scope. And then atheism can obviously explain why these things happen by just appealing to the fact that there's no God, everything's natural, all that stuff.
Okay. There's no overriding reasons that seem to exist. Hmm. Okay. Um, would you expect to see one?
Yeah,
You would? Why should I accept that if theism is true, I would expect to know this like infinite being's overriding like reason?
because isn't that like the case? Well, just specifically in the context of Christianity, like God makes a lot of his reasons very clear. I just don't see why this specific reason, something so fundamental, wouldn't be. I guess I just like fail to see the relevant distinction there. So I'm
How
kind
is
of
child
inferring that if,
torture fundamental?
or just like no, just like allowing like vicious evils is a pretty fundamental concept that you would probably want to be explained if your religion is trying to like convince people of it, right?
Well, you can want it to be. Do you think I don't want it to be explained?
Sorry, when I say want, I mean like given the goals of Christianity, given God actually exists, presumably he would want people to know why these horrible things happen, right? They wouldn't want them to be like willfully misled about God, I would assume.
Well, I mean,
But you can also read the
I,
argument as more of an explanatory thing. Like you're just saying theism isn't explaining it and atheism is explaining it.
I don't
You
know
could
if
read it that
atheism
way as well.
explains it. I think atheism does. I don't know if atheism explains it by just saying like everything's natural and just kind of happens. I don't really take that to be a very good explanation of
But
why.
you don't think atheism is a good explanation for why evil happens? This
No,
is like
but
the
I don't know
one
if
thing
it's
that most theists
necessary.
agree with me on is like atheism can explain why evil happens very well, but it can't like explain like the other good things about life. But it can really explain like the bad things. That's like a common sentiment I get
Yes, thanks.
with theists.
Oh,
But
I don't really take that view.
interesting. Okay.
I don't think it.
No,
We can talk
no.
about maybe that it's not really necessary, but we can talk about that another time. But yeah, I don't really take that view. But I think the argument is just kind of assuming that if God had the overriding reasons for permitting evil, that he would want humans to know them. But I don't know if I agree with that. Because like the classical theist, like just gives positive reasons to expect why a divine entity would like remain kind of beyond our understanding, right?
In all aspects or just in some? I agree in some, but like how would you explain why like Christianity does make certain reasons like very, very well known, like why certain things are in play, like why sin exists? They give a pretty in-depth explanation for why that's the case. Would you agree with that?
It's just like
Yeah, I mean, I can agree that um, it can just be on like a scale of understanding, right? It can be on a scale of like like necessary to know in order to like be sufficient in our culpability and to be sufficient in our understanding. It
But
could be
wouldn't you
like
say
a
there's some things in the Bible that aren't really required to have a good belief in, have like a strong belief in God? But then this seems like something that'd be much more required. Like think about how important that is to a lot of people, like this idea of suffering going on in the world. Like that is a big reason why a lot of people are atheists, from what I understand. I might actually be able to show empirics on that one day as well. Maybe in DMs I could find something like that. But wait, are you opposed to the idea that a big reason why people don't believe in God is because of the suffering and evil in the world?
I think that I think that that's probably part of an equation as to why they think that God doesn't exist, but I don't know if I take it as like like the actual reason why they reject God. I take like more of a excuse me, I take more of a Blaise Pascal reason as to why atheists reject God.
What's that?
Yeah, that you would rather be God for yourself, that your heart posture rejects him. And
You'd
then
rather
you're
be God for
and
yourself?
yeah, like you. you would rather not have someone to tell you what to do and to tell you what's good and bad. You'd rather make that up for yourself. So you have a heart posture turned away from the divine, and then your intellect rationalizes that, like that passion decision. Like I take more of that view.
Wait, do you think
So
that
go ahead.
like yeah, do you think that it contradicts God's nature for him to like lie to someone?
Yeah. God wouldn't be able to do that. It would be a violation of his nature.
Doesn't it seem odd that God can lie? Sorry, God can't lie, but he can allow like child suffering. Like one seems like a worse action. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Well, where's the contradiction exactly?
I didn't say it was a contradiction,
What's
but
what's wait
do you agree to that?
what's this called though? Like, because you say seem a lot. Like, is this a certain type of like a seeming argument or
It's like
something?
phenomenal conservatism based, bro.
Yeah, bro. I'm PC.
It's whack. Yeah, Michael Huemer was an idiot, bro.
No, he isn't, bro. He's based.
Okay.
It's a
Well,
lot of
so yeah,
correlations within
like,
his.
I don't know. To me, it just seems like Christianity's true. It's just a seeming.
It's just a seeming that I have.
The,
It's kind of
There's defeaters though. There's defeaters, bro. Trust.
nah.
there, I have an issue with his statement too because the way you try to put those two things in correlation together, they're not even equal in principle. So when you're sitting up here saying that, oh, well, God has a nature where he cannot lie. Yes, we understand that it's something that is essential to him. He cannot contradict himself. And then you're trying to equivocate that over to the particular.
I also don't see why I should expect that under theism, like if God reveals some truths really clearly, that I should expect him to reveal all truths really clearly. Like, I don't think you're a parent, right? But like parenthood is kind of a really good model of that. Like parents explain like certain moral truths to children, but they don't explain like either the complexity of it behind, like the complexity behind the rules, or even all of the rules, or even more of the abstract, complicated ones. Like those are revealed to you through development, and then we just have like a cap to that development, to where the access to these like more providential, infinite, eternal kind of reasons just aren't accessible. What's the issue there?
Well, I think it might be an issue in explanatory power because it seems like the theist or the Christian isn't really able to explain why God chooses to reveal some things and not other things. It seems like if you're a parent, you could give that type of explanation. So that might be irrelevant to symmetry, right? That there
But
is an
not to children,
explanation in
though.
one case, but there isn't in the theism case.
Yeah, but not to children though. Um, like it would be like I don't think like if you took like a really complex moral rule to teach to a 3-year-old, and then you said, well, presumably the parent could teach it to the 3-year-old. So I don't, that's the point, right? But like just put yourself as a 3-year-old in comparison to like an eternally all-knowing being, right? So no, I don't know if I take that view. That's why I'm asking
No,
for motivation. Like, why should I expect
do you
to
think
see
that
all
there's?
moral rules?
I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying is that it seems like a theist is unable to explain why some are explained and some aren't.
I just explained it to you.
No, but in the parent example, like presume either the parent can give a reason or it's just arbitrary. Now, if you're
Yeah, but
do you accept
God
that
is
dichotomy?
but
Wait, do you
yeah,
accept
but
that
God is
dichotomy?
yeah, but we're not the parent in the God
I
children
I know
example.
that.
So
Wait,
yeah, but
do you
not to a
accept that
3-year-old.
either God has a reason or it's arbitrary?
Yeah, God would have an overriding reason. Yeah.
Okay, so you're not able to explain that reason, correct?
Me as the 2-year-old, no.
Okay. Do you not think that that's an issue for just the view as it relates to humans as a lack of explanatory power? Or what do you take explanatory power to be? Because I generally understand it in terms of
No,
like
I
the
don't think
theory
so.
and principle, but also the theory and practice.
Well, help me understand how that follows to be an explanatory problem on the view,
Thank
because
you.
just because I either can't access it, or just even if I was presented to it, I wouldn't understand it, that therefore there's some problem with the view itself, not just a problem with me as a finite 2-year-old.
Can I maybe give you a hypothetical to consider? I've never run this before, but I think it might be kind of productive to explain what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, like imagine there was like some like pro-choice God, and there's actually like a reason for why abortion is like okay at 9 months. Obviously, like none of us can conceive of it. Like that's like extremely odd to us.
Hmm.
Do you think that it would be just suppose that we live in that world right now? Do you think that it's like unreasonable for pro-lifers to say things like, "Oh, there's an explanatory deficit on pro-choice. Pro-choice can't seem to explain why these things are the case." I still think that those are still valid criticisms, even though in principle it can explain things. I think the fact that in practice it can't seems to be an issue.
Well, that would just be reasserting the issue, like reasserting the assertion. But I'm looking for some motivating reasons. I think the objection
Wait,
here,
in that context, do you accept what I'm saying, or do you disagree with that?
no, all things equal, that'd be an invalid inference unless you can motivate it.
Wait, what do you mean it's invalid? I didn't make an inference. I asked in the case that I gave, do you think it's unreasonable to charge pro-choice with an explanatory deficit?
In a world where there is a pro-choice God, okay, and the pro-choice God had an overriding reason to allow X, Y, and Z, and as a pro-lifer, I'd said, what are those reasons? And this pro-choice God had all of the same, like all things equal to this God that's currently in question. Yeah, I mean, I would just be you in this case. I would have, like, I, I, I would probably say the exact same thing that I'm saying now, which is just that there's overriding reasons. I just don't have access to them.
And are we assuming that this God isn't like infinitely good and stuff like this, like all the basic
Well,
qualities?
no, the
That's what
point that I
I'm
was trying to make was more that there seems to be a difference between explanatory power in principle and explanatory in practice. Explanatory power in practice. Like I think the fact that atheism in practice, I can already give explanations. None of you guys can give explanations. That seems to be somewhat evidence of atheism being true because I can literally explain to you the mechanism behind why these things happen.
I mean,
The theist is left with zero explanation. The theist
Well,
simply has faith, in my
one,
opinion.
one, you just didn't accept our explanation. Two, you're assuming that your explanation is actually like
No, you didn't give an
correct.
explanation.
we did.
I'm not gonna go
No,
through them all
nobody
again.
here gave an explanation.
I did.
The explanation is the skeptical theist view, dude.
No, we gave
I don't
both
take
of
that
those
to be.
views.
Wait,
That-
I don't take
What?
skeptical theism to be an explanation
it's-
of the specific
It's not
phenomenon in
about what
question.
you
That's
accept. Don't
irrelevant,
sit there and
though.
say that we didn't give answers when we literally did. I don't care if you accept it or not. Nobody cares about that. So don't say that.
Yeah, bro. I don't want to be ableist. I'm not going to say that, but
What?
nothing.
Yeah, keep it.
What I was gonna say was that doesn't mean that your explanation is actually good.
Same way that like a 3-year-old explains like a calculus problem. Maybe you gave an explanation in that sense, but you didn't give a very good explanation. I'll say
I
that.
think yours is more along the lines of the 3-year-old. Mine had a little bit more.
You think so? You think so?
Like, I mean, we could just both be like, like people like you are gonna agree with you. People that like me are gonna agree with me or whatever. But like, I'm just saying that we gave explanations, and two, you're just assuming you're just like, oh yeah, we have an explanation. That doesn't mean it's a good explanation.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if I would agree. Okay, so you might be able to explain, well, one, I don't even think I don't even take the view that like atheism can explain why these things happen, but let's just say that you do. You might be able to explain like why child torture is bad in like a thin causal sense or something, but like the theist is explaining like they're explaining more. They're explaining like the existence of evil, the why evil is genuinely evil. Explaining like making predictive power, like having predictive power rather on like a providential plan, so on and so forth. So I don't even know if I would agree that with the assertion that
Wait, when I say atheism,
that
well, first of
doesn't
all,
explain things in practice. I don't know if I agree with
I
that.
think atheism does explain all those things you listed, but I really don't. Wait, you don't think that atheism can, at the very least, give a good explanation for why evil just exists in the first place? Like, you don't think evolution or just like causal
I think
change could just explain why some actions turn out to be wrong and some actions turn out to be
I take
right?
evolution to explain how questions. I don't think they answer why questions very well.
Like,
Oh
how do you
wait,
even?
what do you take a why question to be then?
We can go down. Is that relevant? Like, do you feel like that's relevant for the objection that you're
Well,
espousing?
it's because it seems like you're saying that. Well, I'm saying I think atheism can give a good explanation for why these things happen, but if we have different notions of why, then maybe maybe what I'm saying isn't true. 'Cause maybe there's just like a different notion there. I'm not saying like they can give like a teleological explanation. I'm saying it's
Well,
just
okay,
very
so that might
consistent
be
with the position. Yeah, I'm saying it's like very consistent with atheism that evil would happen. It doesn't seem as consistent with theism.
yeah. Okay, so maybe that this might end up being a derail then, Leo,
Yeah,
because it
that's a
might
good
just
way.
go into it. It might just go into a teleology dispute, but
Oh, yeah, I
um,
see, I see.
yeah. But like broadly, we can get more specific. I don't know if I have a very like flushed out definition in this case, but like aside from maybe a teleological explanation of why, which would just be for like what purpose did this occur, right?
Like
I
maybe
don't
this is
think
a good way of.
I don't think evolution answers that question.
Oh, well, yeah, I agree. I don't think that's a question that it should answer or that I like want to answer.
Yeah, but that's okay. But that's like data that I'm trying to answer. I think that's an important question to answer. I think theism does that, and I don't
Oh, but
really
the
see.
only reason you think that's because you're a theist, presumably.
I actually don't know if I could answer that because I've never not been a theist, but presumably just kind of how I operate in the world, I try to operate that way in pretty much all I do. Like how questions have always been unsatisfactory to me. So I don't see why I wouldn't try to do that if I was an atheist, but I've never been one. So.
I mean, when I was an atheist, I didn't think that atheism provided explanation for it. It just there's
And
no
it's like
why.
I
It
don't
was
know.
just things just happening. Like there's
It's like
I couldn't call it evil. I don't know how you call it evil.
But I
with all
think
due
that
respect, the why question to me just seems like a question. It's like you can't explain why unicorns exist. I'm like, okay, but it doesn't really
But
want to
it's
explain why
I think it's
unicorns
more
exist.
along the lines of like why is it called like evil? Like why are we saying that this is evil? Like I don't think for me,
It's more of a
honestly,
metaethical question then.
yeah, but for me, everybody if everybody's calling it evil, that means that there's something that's known across the board that there's something that's wrong with this that's like a greater moral concern that's not going to be answered by evolution or things of that nature. Because I don't know how we would all say that something like that's just like
But if
evil.
you agree that your view doesn't answer those kind of deeper questions, why? I mean, that's exactly what I suppose like the overall objection posed to Slim and
Uh,
Jordan was, which is just why does child suffering exist, or
no, I was
why
using
does
it in a
why
different
you
sense.
can't even really answer the question why on your own view. So
No, sorry. In the sense that I'm using it, I can. Why is in like as in like it's like a consistency question. Like, given theism is true, how is it the case that evil exists? Given atheism is true, I think it's very easy to explain why, or I guess how. Maybe
well, if
how
you
is a
mean
better word
why
to use.
by if you mean why by just I take those things to fall into how categories because like consistency of like of child torture is going to kind of maybe be indexed to um, you know persons kind of forming. I don't know what you believe, but I'm just going to kind of assume maybe like a person kind of forms intentions and then they use force and that force inflicts harm and then that those types of things, those kind of causal relation kind of things tell me how things come about. Like DNA tells me how we develop a spine because of the DNA processes. It doesn't tell me why it acts in that particular way. So I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of semantic or maybe some dispute that we could dive into there, but
Well, I don't know if this is relevant, but do you think that God is like logically necessary, or do you reject that?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Because then I think there might be a good criticism of Christian ethics you could use. Because
Is God logically necessary?
yeah, because you could say something like, if it's the case that God isn't logically necessary, presumably there would be evil, because then you'd have to like bite like a lot of bullets, like the empty world objections and things like that. And then if God is logically necessary, you'd have to like give a contradiction in its negation, which might be tricky, or a contradiction in some logical law. Do you think that might be a good objection to Christian ethics?
Um, Give the objection one more time.
It's like, okay,
No, don't give it, Slim. Don't. Are you done talking to Leo? Do you want to move on?
no, we can move
It's
on.
that those
I
are
don't want to
not
bother
really
you
good
guys.
objection.
I was
Me
just
and
about
Nick
to
are
say I
like
don't even know how
friends.
that's
Like
possible.
I could just talk to him and just
Yeah, we
on
can
like
we can
Discord
we
or
can we
TikTok
can
or
pick
something.
this up another time,
Yeah,
Leo. It
I'm
was
so sorry if I offended you. By the way, like I'm a nice guy. I didn't mean to offend you. If I did, I apologize.
Leo, I would have cussed you out if I was truly offended, okay?
Okay,
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
that's it.
Thanks for having me up,
All
guys.
yeah.
right.
Thanks, Leo. God bless. Have a good day.
I
Well,
wasn't saying it as in no. I was saying like to his objections, that wouldn't be a good objection towards the proposition God being logically necessary.